to do well in the Premier League, guys, seeing that league up close, the intelligence, the power of players, every team has weapons, every team is well coached, every team has a specific style, and man, 3/4 of that league is hungry as hell. And then the rest are hungry and talented, like really talented. So you got to bring it all the time. That team, every single player and everyone on the inside, the chef, everyone would say, this is not Manchester United standard. It's not.
Bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crack Podcast. Welcome back, the Crack Crew. You're on with your host, Mabricio Mookie Wilson, straight out of New York City. And as always, I'm happy to be with my co-host out of Luxembourg. Let's give a big round of applause, please, to Mr. Oguchi, Onyewu.
What's up, boys? Long time no see.
Exactly. And all the way from Fort Wayne, the legend himself and Mr. Owner of Fort Wayne FC. We want to give him a big shout every time. Let's get a big round of applause, please, for Grumpy Man, Damarcus Beasley. You like how I bigged you up and then I shit on you at the end?
Yeah. What's the grumpy part about? Where'd that come from?
Only people who love you knows that. I don't know. You look grumpy today. I don't like it. You look grumpy. Did you lose a game? How your team do this weekend?
You want me to change my face? What you want me to do?
Yes, fix your face. Yeah, somebody ever told you that? Okay. Fix your face. How your team do this weekend, man?
Yeah, my mama did back in the day. You better fix your face, boy. You better fix your face.
How did Fort Wayne FC do this weekend?
We won 3-0 yesterday.
That's big.
It was the last game of the season.
That must have been from your 6v6 when you were training and showing them how to do some stuff.
Oh yeah. Come on now, you gotta show how you do it.
How's your hamstring? I know you were sore after that.
I'm gonna tell you that it's that second day. That next day I feel like I could play. The next day I feel like I could play 90 minutes. That second day, man.
This man played 20 minutes. Said I'm out.
We played 6v6 and it was 12-minute games.
How many games?
What? We played.
That's a tournament. That's a real tournament right there.
Yeah, 3 games, and then till we played back to back, and then the one team sat out, but you did like some shooting drills, some finishing drills, and then after that we made it to the final. So we played the final, and obviously we won.
Gooch, they cheated because he was the owner was.
100%. Ain't nobody want to tackle bees. They be like, "Oh, my bad, sir."
The ball is out.
I got hit in the mouth too.
Nobody want to argue with him.
By our captain. I'm like, nah, man. I felt good, man. It felt good to get hit again. So.
I can't remember who said that. They said they 2-foot tackled the manager, and 2 weeks later that player was out of there in practice. I forgot who said that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm so happy to be back. So much going on in the world of football, but we have a special guest. We have a U.S. soccer legend, Mr. Chris Armas, straight out of Long Island, Brentwood to be exact. I'm super happy. Somebody I grew up watching, somebody that he birthed bees at Chicago Fire, and he tackles harder than Gooch on U.S. soccer. One of the few. So somebody that we want to give a lot of respect to. And, some people they forget how great of a player he was, man. Bees, what you remember about Chris?
Oh, Chris. You know what? I was thinking about this on the way to the office doing this show. And I think one thing, obviously, he was a great player, very hardworking, the type where he was the first one in, first one out type attitude.
Last one out.
Yeah, last one out.
That was you, Bees.
Brought to the club. You know what I'm saying? But I'll say this: he actually loved his role and loved his position that he played in, which was a number 6. And I say that because you have defenders, you have number 6, you have guys that aren't just goal scorers, and they don't even like defending. They want to go up and score goals on headers. They want to be cute and pass the ball. I mean, we want to pass the ball at the back, but they just want to be cute and they want to be a forward, and they forget about they main job is to defend and get clean sheets. You know what I'm saying? But with Chris, he loved that number 6 role. He loved getting dirty. He loved marking and being around the team's best player, their number 10 around the midfield. And, he was a dog, man. He was a dog. Like he was a nuisance in the midfield. And, with Chris, obviously it was unfortunate he didn't make the World Cup team in 02 because of his injury. But man, he was a player. If you have any of the young bucks that watch our show, y'all gotta watch some highlights of Chris Armas for real.
Yeah, Armas was like he wasn't that much taller than you, right?
Yeah, he's about the same. Yeah,
yeah,
the same
you guys were about,
height-wise,
he height-wise you're the same, but this dude, his presence was like a 6'5" player on the field. You know what I mean? He played much bigger than his stature. From what I remember playing with him in the national team for that brief stint, he was, like you said, he was an engine. He never stopped. He wasn't going to get off the field until he gave everything he had. So he was one of those rare kind of players that you don't, like B said, you don't see that so much anymore. I think this, certain generations lose that kind of respect for the role that they're meant to play. But yeah, I'm excited to ask him some questions and dig into his, his current life in the last couple of years.
Hey, Bees, did you see him as a coach, even as a player? You knew.
Oh yeah, 100%. You knew him. Even Jesse. The one that probably surprised me the most was Ante. I didn't think Ante was going to be a coach. But as I know, he's been doing well with LAFC and he's been there for a while. But that was probably one guy on that team I didn't think was going to be a coach. But big ups to Ante. But yeah, with Chris, yeah, I told you he was like that. He was a captain. He was a leader. He understood the game. He was a guy that pushed us every day in training, not just, not just in games. He had a winning mentality. He wanted to be the best in everything he did. And
how many times y'all win together at Chicago?
They won the championship before I got there in '98, their first year. And then after that, we went to 2 finals. We didn't win those, but we won 2 Open Cups together. So Chris is a winner. Right? What's up? Yeah, we won those. We won those. Yeah, Chris is a winner, man. You can see 100%. His mindset and how he viewed and saw the game of football. You could tell he's gonna be a coach.
I'm concerned a lot of our new talent coming out of U.S. soccer do not have that winning mindset because of the structure of how you get to where you get to now. Meaning, like, how you become one of the top players in U.S. soccer is a little bit different now, right? And Chris came from a situation where he had to get out the mud, right? He wasn't the guy when he was young, was kind of held on that pedestal and kind of given that easy route. He had to fight for everything he got, and he was definitely one of the underdogs, So I think he definitely represents that,
I think that, I think you're right, but I also think that players and generations like Chris and ourselves put in that grind so that, the evolution of sport is what it is. It's not always going to be the same iteration of the grind, right? Like, I know I had to grind, but I don't know if it was the same grind as the generation before me, right? Yeah. And, and so on and so forth. So I would say that the current generation, their path or their grind is different. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't know if it's any harder or less difficult, but it's different. It's different. I can't really speak on it because the academies and all this stuff just didn't exist when me and Bees none of us were growing up. You know what I mean?
For sure. Have you guys got a chance to check out the MLS All-Star roster?
Nope.
I have not.
The interesting.
Who we got?
Check.
Did they put Bale on it? I know they put Bale on it.
Before he ever put the ball, right?
I know they put Bale on the roster.
Let me look.
Check the chat. I just sent it to you.
Okay, hold on.
But reason.
Well, who's on it? You brought it up. So who's on it? Who didn't make it? Who should have made it?
Well, here's the thing, right? It wasn't about who should make it, who shouldn't. It was interesting to see the All-Star game now with so many few American players. Do you guys consider that a good thing, a great thing, or a bad thing?
This is heavy in non-domestic players, that's for sure.
Oh,
It's
Nagby
balanced.
on there.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Yeah, people
Nagby.
like Yedlin, Zimmerman,
Ibrahimovic.
Sean Johnson.
Yeah.
Is Wayne Rooney still there? I think he's stuck there.
Aaron Long.
Aaron Long made it?
Yeah.
Yep. Yedlin, Zimmerman, and Sean John's on there too. Okay.
Who-
Goalkeeper, Sean
Sean
Johnson.
Johnson. DC United representative, Fontes. Good player.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching. Obviously, yeah. What was your question? So why'd you bring this up?
Well, I want to bring light to the MLS, right? And the reason I brought it up is that do you think the MLS now is the 8th most valuable league in the world? Do you think it's time for MLS to go back to having 2 teams for the All-Star face each other than to play against La Liga All-Star team?
I mean, I see it in both ways. I see it as being able to bring in big name, well, not big name, but big clubs to the All-Star game. I don't mind playing against like when I was there. I played against Tottenham, and who else did I play against? And Real Madrid. So I don't mind that part. I think that part is cool. I know some when I was in those All-Star games, I know some of the chatter was it wasn't a break. You know what I'm saying? It was basically a job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You get there, you got so many things to do during the day. Yeah, appearances, which is great, to obviously to be engaged and connect with that community that you're in, and represent MLS in a community vibe. You know what I'm saying? I think that is important. But at the same time, there wasn't no break. It's all, and then you got a game. You got a game on that Saturday, Sunday. You fly in the city Monday, and then you got a game that weekend.
Yeah.
You play, and then you play the All-Star game Wednesday, and then you play that weekend. And if you don't participate, you can't play on Saturday.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's not like a break. It's not an All-Star game where you can just.
Do you think
relax.
you need a break? Do you need a break that time?
I wouldn't say you need a break, but you know what I'm saying. I just think it can be where the guys can relax a little bit more. You know what I'm saying?
Gooch.
During an All-Star.
Gooch, my question to you is: do you feel that players are slighted because there's only one team and you can't pick 22 guys, or you can't pick 25 guys to make?
That's where I differ with Bees in the sense of, as they're expanding this league with all these teams, don't tell me you can't field 2 good teams.
That's entertaining.
That's entertaining right now. I mean, I get it, the marketing aspect of playing against foreign competition, Liga MX or top European clubs. That's more for like ticketing and fans in the seat. But like if we're saying that we're raising the quality and the caliber of the play every year, and now we're in the top 10 best leagues in the year in the world, then we should be able to field 2 opposing teams that can put on an entertaining match.
Put on a show.
And put on a show. And I definitely feel that there's more numbers of all-stars or players that have performed this halfway through the season than the numbers that they're giving, and that's sliding those players that probably aren't the commissioner's picks or aren't the fans' votes or aren't, you know what I mean? Like,
yes,
it always happens. I think they need to go back to that East to West. I liked it. I mean, it gave bragging rights, right, for the rest of the year. I like that.
Ain't no damn bragging rights in the All-Star game. Stop it.
Didn't they do one time the All-Star game where wherever if East won or West won, that side would get the
host the
finals.
They did do that. Yeah, they did. But I think now, because all this money that MLS is getting that you read about, it should be an incentive. You see it in the NBA where they the team
each quarter.
Not each quarter, but I'm talking about like at the end, the winning squad gets a set amount to
charity,
to raise money for charity. Yeah. So it should be something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone has their own charity, or they do it as a team, as the East or the West, or they do it individually. Say if they win, everybody gets say $10,000 to put towards their charity. You know what I'm saying?
The biggest problem to me with the All-Star game,
what's up?
They really wanted these kids to. The biggest problem for me with the All-Star game is that it's during the week. So it's supposed to be a fan experience. So fans from outside of the city that the All-Stars have, that where the All-Stars being located, it's hard for them to get there.
Yeah,
So if they really
gotta go to work.
Yeah, they need to do like a Saturday, Sunday situation to really, really get a chance. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get a big round of applause, please, to the legend, U.S. soccer great and Long Island finest. Let's get a big round of applause, please, Mr. Chris Armas. Chris, so you say you're not at home, or you're on vacation somewhere?
Listen, my family lives in vacation mode these days, but I'm at my sister-in-law's place out in eastern Long Island. So
Beautiful.
yeah, my mom, Bees, I know you met my dad. He passed away two months ago. So I'm not far from my mom's house. And one of my brothers, thank you. One of my brothers is in town. So yeah, we're just hanging out, a bunch of people. And I get to hang out with you guys for a little while. It's good.
So Chris, I just want to let you know that when we first came up to do this podcast, The Crack, you were one of the first people we wanted to get on this show.
You tell everybody that or no?
Yeah, I was literally just about to say that. This is his go-to.
That is bullshit.
Beasley's 10 years younger than me, but I've been around,
Nah, that is bullshit.
Hey, you talking to a New Yorker? Come
exactly.
On,
Not only a New Yorker, he's from Brentwood, New York. He's a straight shooter.
Have a word,
A straight shooter, but
Chris, you just gotta let him do what he does. Just let him talk.
Okay.
Just let it go.
Hey,
I'll be good.
Listen, we always spoke about the top players in New York in U.S. soccer, especially about the players who never get they due and they're just. And we always spoke on yourself and our boy O'Brien. As two players who some people kind of forget about. Some people don't realize the impact you had on U.S. soccer and what you did. If people don't know Chris, I always tell the story how I grew up watching you in the Bayshore Express, and you coming up playing with my cousin and my brother. And going to your games at Adelphi and your games at Long Island Rough Riders. But, not enough has been said about the type of player you were and the winner you were. And I just like to start off is what you think made you the player you are, like in your upbringing?
Look, man, I would say this. Thanks for having me on the show here with you guys, and thanks for those words. Look, like many of you on the call here, listen, you get opportunity in life. We play the game because we love to play the game. It starts when you're a young kid, probably for all of us, but it's something deep inside. And whether I was at the Bayshore Express or at Manchester United, thankfully, certain things just have never changed. What makes players good, what drives players, what makes the very best really, really good. And that's something deep inside. It's not something coaches give you, honestly. They can teach it certain things and tactics and guide you. But the things that separated us and the thing that helped me was just this God-given inner drive to be the best I could be and do what I could with what I had. And I think I got really good at that. Just knowing who I was and giving everything every day. Some guys lose the hunger. Mm-hmm. I never, ever lost it. And guys like Beasley would come around and you realize, you gotta be at your best all the time because they're coming for you. These young guys are coming, and Gooch knows it as well. It's the competitiveness. Thank God, everything mattered to me to win. Yeah. And I wasn't a sore loser, but I was a little sore, but I wasn't a bad loser. You know what I mean? I could shake your hand after, but I wasn't.
It's funny that you say all that. It's funny because you're literally pretty much repeating what B said, like the qualities that he loved in you. Like leaving it all on the field, knowing your role and playing that to perfection, and not worrying about anything else besides what you can do well and how you can affect the game. So that's a great little trinket of advice to drop to this kind of generation. I'm too old to use it, but I wish you would have given me that.
No, but I mean, and I said, in the beginning of the show, when I was speaking about you, Chris, the thing that just what you just said was that's what I learned. I was 17, 18 years old going to this fire team that had, international stars. They had U.S. the U.S. national team stars. And it wasn't just about how talented you were. It was about if you could do that every single day. Every single day, can you try to be the best player or the best person that you could be every day in training, the way you come to training, the way you leave training, how you take care of yourself. Every day you have to be at your best. And that's one thing that Chris, you just said it, was that I learned, from you and from that squad when I at such a young age.
Chris, what was your thoughts on this scrawny little 17-year-old from Fort Wayne, Indiana, who had a professional contract coming into the Chicago Fire?
Well, one thing I can take credit for, and no one ever would know this, I'm the first person that said he can play left back. And no, not even he knows that I've talked to the coaches at every level saying, why not? Because at that time, no one was talking about these attackers that could play these attacking roles. For me, fullbacks and outside backs, why? It's almost not enough of them understood the attacking end of the field. So why not?
Chris is the one that made Bruce want to put you at left back.
Yeah, probably, and Bob at times.
But listen, it's not. You can say, well, when guys get older, but for me, it's one of the most important positions on the field because it's as you try to attack centrally, the flanks are big, but to having a two-way guy. Listen, it's what I know about Bees and what I always remembered about him was, and I looked at players a certain way. Like at first you say, oh, he's wiry, he's quick, but that was so not the story with him. He was his best quality, and people wouldn't realize it again because he was so quick, because he can get by guys. Is that he was intelligent, because those attributes without his intelligence, quite honestly, he's a 6 out of 10 then. He's quick. He's a quick guy that not so
out of bounds.
He can use the weapon. So what I think he'll always be remembered in my mind was just such a breath of fresh air to the pro game. A young guy coming around, fearless. Just really, okay, is he a little nervous? Yeah, maybe, but fearless, never played scared, always played with joy. Again, a breath of fresh air to the Chicago Fire, onto the national team where you say, whoa, and quickly earned respect, not as just a young guy. And he established himself quickly because he worked hard, he was good energy, everyone loved him, but most of all, they respected him because he was a good player. And like I spoke about earlier, and we have this quality on this call here, he played to win. And this is a big quality in itself. And everyone probably plays to win. He could actually sway things, right? Like when things are close, whether it's the national team, whether it's a World Cup, he can make a play. Not because he was just good, but he had a mindset.
Beats, how much money did you pay this man? How much money did you pay this man?
Listen,
I text him this morning like, hey, Chris, man, I need a couple.
That's the truth, guys. I'm sorry.
He's texting him right now, like, say this. Now say this.
That is the truth.
Appreciate it, Chris. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah. Appreciate it.
So you being 10 years older than Bees, what was that like on the road with a 17-year-old? I mean, what the hell can you talk to each other about or do,
Yeah, we used to, in the mornings. I used to ride a training with these guys in the morning. Chris, CJ, because we all lived in the city. They live like right in the city, right downtown. I live in the city, but maybe toward Madison and Jefferson, Chris. The West Loop. So, but yeah, we used to ride a train together. Some young guys need constant reminders, but Bees was not one of them. He came from a good family. He had a lot of good values built in. The things you try to teach young guys: work hard, put your head down, don't talk too much, you get fouled in training. He had a lot of that built in. So in all reality, like I said early on, he didn't do much talking. Like he knew when to talk and when not to talk. He established himself by being a good young player. So listen, we had family barbecues. We hung out. We would go out. He was one of the guys. And when you're an older guy, I'm 49. I think like a younger guy. You're in with the team. So it was not
we had good conversation and we had a good friendship. But I think it was much more like a equal teammate. Of course, a mentor in some ways, I'm sure, but yeah.
Chris, throughout your career, you had so many honors, right? Winning Supporters Shield, MLS Cup, MLS Top 11, Gold Cup winner. But do you feel that you had to always prove yourself every year and never got a chance to kind of rest your shoulders and know that you're going to get the respect that you deserve?
You sound like my mom, and that's a compliment. Because my mom and my brother, they think, yeah, you didn't get all the... Guys, I played for the U.S. national team. You know what I'm saying? 8 straight years where in 2 World Cups that I got injured right before, I was going there as a starter. Not because I'm in my dreams. I was actually starting on the team. I was named... whatever it was, 2000 Player of the Year. What does that mean? Yeah, you're voted best player in the United States of America. I did it, guys. Like 8 years on the national team. I played whatever it was, a total of 15 years professional soccer. Like, if you told me when I was a kid that would you sign up for this, there's nothing I would not have done or paid to do it. So, listen, Cristiano Ronaldo and Bees, they get the recognition sometimes, maybe for scoring a goal. Gooch, myself, we can put out fires for a living and be good guys that can carry our weight in the biggest of moments and the biggest of games. So, listen, there was injuries, not many, but a couple that kept me out of the World Cups. But in terms of the real people who it really mattered to, you know what I mean? Like the home fans, they treated me well. All of my coaches believed in me with minutes. Don't tell me I'm good. Just play me, coach. They played me all the time. I never came off the bench, thankfully. I played a whole career of that. So where do I need that recognition? My family, they think I'm the world's greatest thing, ever. But I didn't play a glorious position. But if my teammates were handing out bibs or pennies, I'm getting one early on.
First one.
Where do you need respect? That's the greatest honor. I played the game because I loved it, guys. Now that's not old school. That is the way to be a champion. So I played because I loved it, and I actually felt really appreciated my whole career.
So Bees, keep it real. Who tackled harder, Gooch or Armas?
I would probably say, well, Gooch was just gangly. So I would.
What does that mean?
What does that even mean? What are you talking about? A gangly tackler?
He's just long, right?
Gangly tackler.
Gooch, listen to this. We played a game in Hartford once on the national team. Now, you might not remember this because you and I collided heads.
Yes. We knocked each other out almost.
Listen, here's the thing that's important on this call for everyone to know. I got up first.
The Maryland boys are soft,
no
Chris.
Joke. Nowadays, concussions, and some days I don't have all the memory that I should have, badly. But that collision, man, was a bad one.
So whose fault was that? Whose fault was it? Who didn't call?
We were both looking at the ball and not the player, and
we were trying to clear a set piece
like this, and our bodies just went. Jeez. I remember that too. I was like, man, this got a smart ass head. Damn.
So man, Gooch was a great teammate, man. What an honor playing with your brother. We didn't get to play enough, but we had some good times together. That's for sure.
We did, man. I would have much rather played with you than Bees, but
I knew you were gonna say that shit. I knew you were gonna say that shit.
Obviously. I can play left back and left wing.
What is your most memorable moment as a U.S. soccer player?
My most memorable moment with the national team was when we qualified for the 2002 World Cup. We were at Foxborough. We're in Boston, and we won our match, and we're waiting to hear. We're just standing on the field, and we're kind of like, okay, yes, we took care of our business, and then boom, we got the communication that another result went a certain way, and that we qualified for the World Cup. I can't tell you what that meant to a kid that didn't come from a whole lot, man, that had a lot of dreams.
Speak about it, brother.
In that moment, I realized I'm going to the World Cup. So when you talk about like accomplishing something and just being part of the best team in the country and know that I'm going to have a chance to go play against the best in the world. Everyone was kind of happy, and I couldn't look at anyone, because if I did, I would have started crying. I didn't want to hug anyone. It was an emotion that was incredible. So that day had to be the greatest. I mean, even more than my first cap. The emotion of that day was just remarkable. So yeah,
Amazing.
I talked to these guys, especially Bees. I said, did you think that Chris would be a coach while he was playing, while he was a teammate? And he said that's a no-brainer. When did you realize that you had a passion to become a coach?
I would say when in the middle of your career, and I know all of you guys can probably relate to it. When you're a player, I think I'm going to play forever. I'm invincible. Injuries, age, that's not my language here. That's for those guys. Like, I will play forever. I didn't think too much about after, what am I going to do after? Because the thought of not playing, this didn't sit well with me. This was a fear of not being able to play this sport anymore pushed me hard. But I will say that along the way, I did enjoy the coaches that I had, and I paid extra attention, thinking, one day, maybe one day down the road, to my college coach, Bob Montgomery, to Alfonso Mandello, to Bob Bradley, and Dave Sarek, and Dennis Hamlet, and Bruce Serenely. These guys all had something interesting and different that I said, wow, that's an interesting way to lead. I don't like that. I like that. And I was asking questions along the way to them, to myself. So I enjoyed the camaraderie. I enjoyed the locker room. I enjoyed the team. I enjoyed getting a voice as I got a little bit older to lead people. I think I had a way with people. I think I had a high level of competition in me, and I know the game. So what makes a good coach?
Big shouts to Bob Montgomery and Alfonso. But between Bruce and Bob, who you think you played better under or fit their style more?
Yeah, it's interesting, man, because it's the national team's so different than club ball. When you're playing on the national team and you're playing through 2 World Cup cycles, and most of that time, man, you're as you said, proving yourself. Me, I tried to prove myself every single time, because you said John O'Brien, there was Pablo Mastriani, and there's Richie Williams, and every which way you look, there's guys saying, "Come on, man, you mess up one, you take one wrong step." I had this mindset that no chance, I'm not letting it go. So you live on the edge with the national team, like I don't know, those World Cup qualifiers. No chance were we not qualifying for a World Cup. This is how we never, was a mindset that not on my watch. You could almost have that on the back of my forehead. Not on my watch. I'm not letting him down. No chance. And that's a great place to live, and it's a terrible place to live, because you want to enjoy it a bit more, which you enjoy the result and the qualifying. But this was so Bruce Arena. I think it was a much more disciplined role. Here's your role. You got Claudio. You got John. Win the ball. Destroy. Discipline, hold down the fort, transition. Yeah, and he brought another level out of me, to be honest with you. Bob got me on the details. Sit down, Chris. Let me show you this. Let me show you that. You got to do this better. You didn't peek over your shoulder. Why didn't you switch the field? Yeah, that made me better. Bob had me every single day for those years, and that was tough on some guys. It wasn't tough on me. I could handle those details, and I loved it because I excelled under Bob. So I can't answer which one. For me, they both pushed me to a different level at the time.
So with all these coaches that kind of contributed to your style, I like this, I didn't like this about him. With your first coaching role, what kind of coach did you want to be in that role? Yeah,
it's interesting. I wanted to have the details of Bob Bradley, and the work ethic, to show up early and really crank on details. The management skills of Bruce, to really manage a group under pressure and to make it. to make you're on your toes, but I love you too. Really nice balance that he can do this. And to be honest with you all, working with Jesse Marsh for 3 years, Jesse had a lot of that built in himself, where he was really good with the locker room. He was tough on guys with details. And at that same time, me and Jesse are very different. So our personalities, I was able to coach the philosophy of a more of an up tempo, pressing energy with the ball. Let's attack. Without the ball, let's win it back. This, as we say, Red Bull philosophy. But I mean, you can go on about that. What is Red Bull philosophy? It's just more of an aggressive style of play, which I actually can relate to because I played that way. I actually see the game that way. So yeah, it was a combination from different people. But the simplest way to say it is, listen, it has to be details for me when I'm coaching, but I need the players to play free at the same time, and I kind of how I want it to be coached. I want to get the best out of a player, so I can't have them too uptight and too thinking about all the details. So how can you get a guy to be the best he can be playing free within a philosophy? And this is, I think, the people skills, the football knowledge that, I think that is what gives me a chance as a coach.
I'm glad you spoke on it, because that was one of the questions I had, is that what is the Red Bulls philosophy? Because obviously, it goes across all the Red Bulls teams, And
Well, listen, thankfully, I joined them in 2015, so I've been in this mindset 7 years, and I've been over it. And some might say, oh, yeah, we don't really play the Red Bull philosophy. Well, and you say, what do you mean by that? What is the Red Bull philosophy? And not a lot of people can answer that. Of course, they'll say, oh, yeah, it's pressing, but
everybody presses now, right?
Yeah, but everyone presses.
Yeah.
There's high pressing, there's mid block, and thankfully I was around Jesse. I got to work with Ralph Rangnick recently, but in those years I would go to Germany in the off season and work with Ralph and see how they're doing things. It was Marco Rosa. There was Julian Nagelsmann. Even when Tyler Adams is there, I'm watching them in training. Well, is this Red Bull football? It's pretty expensive. Talking about possession, talking about ideas, and making the pitch big. I thought Red Bull football was just vertical. So I think in when you talk about Red Bull football, for sure, it's this mindset to be dangerous when you don't have the ball, right? That a lot of goals are scored in transition. So whether you're high pressing, even in a mid block, are we really thinking together that we can be dangerous when this ball turns over by winning it, and now we go. And then with the ball, there's always, as much as you might want to move opposition around and occupy certain parts of the field, the idea for me still, if you're talking Red Bull, has verticality in mind. It's not, if you can do it in 100 passes, can we do it in 50 passes? Can we do it a little bit quicker? And as much as you want to attack the center of the pitch, you might have to get into wide areas before you can do that. So honestly, I think it's just about high energy and tempo and aggressiveness as a starting point, but then you talk about all the phases of the game, and each coach does it a little bit differently.
Definitely. And obviously you were successful with the Red Bulls when you took over, and then what was the reason that they thought about going a different direction from you, the Red Bulls? Because again, you didn't win the MLS Cup, but you guys, I believe, won the Supporters Shield, or you were top of the league. Yeah,
listen, I think, when I took over for Jesse.
Yes.
In that year, I coached, that second half of the season, and as much as I still would credit Jesse in the media, I would go out of my way to say, listen, Jesse Marsh is part of this. I had to pick 20 lineups and run hundreds of training sessions. So and we went on a big run, and we actually did better in that second half of the season. And we rolled through the playoffs. We beat our boy Berhalter in the playoffs to got through them 3-0 that second leg, and we had some good moments. We lost that first leg in Atlanta, and it was tight. There was a VAR call; it could have went our way. Guzan, was he blocked? And the margins are thin, but I honestly think that the entire Red Bull family, the fan base, that was our chance, right?
Yeah.
It was a big chance. And we fell short. If we won that leg, we're hosting the final. So there's disappointment after that, for sure. Okay, come back that following season, and that's when we lose Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you all, that's a big loss for any team. And it was a big loss for us, and we didn't replace that. Wright Phillips was hurt all year, and ask Golden State Warriors. They lose their two best players.
Stephen Clay.
No, but like Steve Kerr doesn't become a bad coach, right? Like they were like in last place all of a sudden. What happens? He's a terrible coach? No, I mean, we were doing in some of our best work in 2019, to be honest with you. We finished in 6th place. We played, I think, Philly Union, number 1 seed. We're winning 2-0 in that game.
Yes.
I think that's an important fact that you just put there. Like Steve Kerr doesn't become a bad coach just because the result. I think people don't realize that, and they always want to crucify coaches when results aren't going well for them.
It's part of the business. I get that, and then in those moments, Josh Wolf in Austin needs support. Right? He needs Claudia to stick with him a bit after year 1, and he does. Because he sees some good things. And listen, in 2019, it was just we lose in the playoffs. And yes, is that successful? Is it not? Someone's got to judge that. 2020, that was COVID, and we got off to we were in the bubble. We came home from the bubble. We're 500, and I got let go. And no one ever said, here's why exactly, but they have their ideas, and maybe they're bringing someone else in. And I think the fans were making noise too, and that puts pressure on people to make decisions. Either get rid of your coach or support your coach and bring in players. We didn't bring in players we didn't get that right. But
I personally think they got it wrong because. And right now in my position where I'm over here in Belgium, because I would be put in that position to get rid of a coach, and I had to. But I don't think, given your past seasons with them and then taking COVID into consideration, taking all these other factors, I was like, that was really negligent of them to do so hard. In my opinion, you don't have to agree. You don't have to agree.
It's heard. It's appreciated. Look, Again, something has to be done in those moments. Either support the coach. What does that mean? Support the coach, bring in players, and now replace Tyler and Wright Phillips and certain players that we lost in Grella, and now make a run and see. Or bring in a new coach, which they gave the assistant coach the rest of the year, and then they brought in a new coach from Austria, which that might have been in the plans. I don't know. No one says that, right? And crazy enough, I got 10 games with Toronto. The following year, I have 10 games in charge in Toronto on a team that, quite honestly, that needed change. That team, the first thing you see is, okay, we're in.
You need to get into the details of Toronto.
But guys, I coached 10 soccer games for the Toronto FC. Fucking, we're in Florida for the whole time.
That's ridiculous.
Guys, let's get back from our bubble. We can't play any home games. I'm sure I'll be the only coach in the history of any sport to never coach one home game. And with
Chris, we got to talk about that.
I didn't even realize that.
We got to talk about you guys were so far. You guys were in Florida, right? So
listen, I show up in Toronto in January of 21, and start coaching in Toronto within the pandemic, which meant, you got guys getting COVID here and there. No problem. We created a bubble in Toronto, but we couldn't train. They finally lift that, and now we start training in Toronto, and we realize with all the restrictions, and you can't use this, and you can't do that, you can't eat together, we have to get out of Toronto. So the club decides, and we all decide, let's create our own bubble at a resort down in Florida. So we're in the Champions League. I stepped into that. We win. No one gave us a chance. We win a round of Champions League. Big results there, and guys like Pozuelo are hugging me, saying, "I can't believe it. You're an amazing coach. I love you." It was really an interesting time because I'm like, okay, I'm connecting with Josie on a certain level. But people made so much of the Josie thing. That me and him had this. Me and Josie were fine, and things got blown out of proportion. But anyhow, I'm connecting with Josie. I'm pushing Michael Bradley all the time. But there was a lot of history at this club. But It just needed some change. Guys, I promise you, if I know anything of the game, when you get rosters need turnover, that team has accomplished as much as they can.
Yeah.
He needs to get traded. He needs to go. He's not good enough. There was a bunch of things that needed, and it was easy to see that, in my opinion, because I'm the coach. I know how we want to play. I know where we need to go. And I also know that you have to have hungry athletes. You have to have guys that not all players that have
Did Michael Bradley
rewarded.
lose his hunger?
What's that?
Did Michael Bradley lose his
Never.
hunger?
Hungry as ever. But he needed help around him, and he needed to be pushed differently. He needed other players.
I don't think Michael. As you get older, your game changes. It has to adapt in a certain way. Like I don't think Michael could have functioned like the Michael Bradley of 5-6 years prior, right?
No, it's different. But look, we had a couple of young players that could play next to him. Osorio was hurt all year. Pazuello,
Big player.
He didn't play for us. He played 1 or 2 games all season. He was hurt. Josie was injured. We had some major challenges, which I'm up for it. No problem. I'm up for challenges. Like I can work. I will never make excuses. I'm just going to work and pull out the best of this team. Anyhow, we go to Florida. We create a bubble. We play our home games out of Orlando Stadium. And we did not get we're out shooting teams, we're out possessing. We had statistics. We were not getting results. As time went longer, after the Champions League, we just were not getting the results. That's straight. And now, again, 10 games in, or I think 11 games in, I get fired. And you can see that the fans are making noise because they want to win. Yeah. Greg Vanny, my friend, he leaves the club and he says, the club is in an amazing place. The next person can take this and win. That was irresponsible. I would tell it right to
He's a used car salesman. Take this car.
Take this lemon of a franchise.
For him, it's a good statement. But it's not. That wasn't the truth. That wasn't the truth. And if we look at what has transpired since then, right? They finished in last place last year. With all healthy players and home games, right? Things didn't change. Why? Because the coaching was terrible, maybe. But you guys decide.
So Chris, when you actually looked at the team, you assess as a coach, as a new coach, you assess the team, you assess the players, where we at. This is how I want to play. Okay, I need this. I need this. When you went to the board or the general or the sporting directors and the owners, and you said, okay, this is what we need, or this is what I need, to play the football that I want to play. That's why you guys brought me here. So. When you went to them and you said, okay, I need this, this, and this, what was that conversation like?
Yeah, the conversation was, okay, taking notes. We got this. I'd have a schematic with players. Here's players we can think about trading in time. We got time. Like I have a 3-year contract. We want this today, but we got some time. COVID, things might take some time. There was calls coming in. Would you take so-and-so from LAFC for this guy? Yes, do it. Freshness. We got to get some freshness. And this was being talked about, Bees. It was being, okay, we'll get back to Toronto. We'll make some changes. Okay, Chris, I hear you on this one. You got to give me some time on that. It was as if you would think, business as usual and conversations, weekly roster meetings, every week, not every other week, every single week on Zoom with our head scout. We're looking at players. We're looking to add. We're trying to make some moves. And I was under the thought, like, I'm good. Like, I'm making decisions, not, of course, every game you have to win, of course, but I'm making culture decisions.
Yes.
No, that's not happening here. You cannot do that, so-and-so. Why'd you guys bring me here? So, I'm not a disciplinarian. I'm not a thousand rules guy. I'm a man manager. I know what's real. I know how to win. I know how to talk to people. I know how to coach. I know, I know how to build a culture because I've done it. I've been part of that. I did it at the Red Bulls, honestly, and I did it as a player in Chicago. And some would say that in those years that Bees and we were lucky, they haven't recovered building a real culture, which that's an everyday thing. And I barely got started with that. So, that was some hard decisions, some longer-term decisions. I was playing young players because we had a lot of injuries, but I was also the philosophy and young players. We wanted to push this young Canadian players, thinking, yes, we're gonna take some lumps early on. We're gonna win some games. We're gonna lose some games, and they'll be better for it in a year, or we move on. But
so Chris,
this was a crazy stretch, because it was crazy enough being away with the team. No one's in their own home, and a lot of players not in their families, and again, no home games, and thanks for everything. You're out, which most of all that I didn't get to finish the job. I thought I was excited for this project.
That's bullshit. But Chris, speaking of truth, we had Josie on here and we asked him about the supposedly conflict that was reported between you two. But obviously something happened because he was boxed out and wasn't able to play. Yeah. But he said you had nothing. There was nothing between you two. Like, you guys were good, and you guys had an understanding. Did you just have to maybe make a point you thought was best for the younger guys or for success of the team, that you had to kind of reprimand Josie?
Listen, I'll say this first. Before I even spoke to the team, I called Josie and said, Josie, I'm Chris. Chris, I know who you are. He was in national team camp, and I said, hey, give me a buzz when you can. He goes, I'm in training as soon as I'm done. We spoke. Josie, I'm going to lean on you. I need you. I can't wait to work with you. I'm going to push you and just give all I can to help you. Still, I think there's ways. Come on, can I help you even more? But what a great thing ahead, man. And from day one. And then it wasn't just, okay, see you later. We sat together. We looked at video, put together video for him. Let's look at some of your movements in the box, some of the pressing. Josie, excellent. Coming back into the game. We had some really good talks where we hug after. Boom. You can coach me, Chris, he says. And I said, Josie, it's an honor, and we talked about a national team brotherhood. He tells me this. I have a lot of respect for him. And I'll tell you what, in that locker room, he's well respected and well liked. And I mean, I was just the guy on the scene. This was his club and
his city.
And so from that level, and I'm also, like, even working with a kid like Beasley, you got to let Bees be Bees. You got to let him. He's got his number 7 chain. You got to let him. He's got to do that, because then he's going to be free and himself. And this is important. And for Josie, the same. I'm not trying to change who he is, his core. In fact, I want to add to it, and I want to know who you are. So, yeah, we had some good moments, me and him, to be honest with you. And it was deliberate on my part, at least. Yeah, when I made a decision with the club to he was suspended for a few weeks, and it was just a decision to say, and I explained that to him. It wasn't the club, it was Chris and Josie, Coach. Right? It was, and I asked for it to be the club and us, but no, it was Chris, and it's you. And okay, so guys, it doesn't matter. I will speak to Josie straight. And I said, Joe, look, this is what it is, man. I'm trying to build something in this incident, whatever. And he said, okay. And that was that, and it was never going to be that he wasn't going to be a big part of things, and it wasn't going to be part of the plans. And it wasn't going to be that as he was getting healthy, because he was coming off an injury. Yeah, we're trying to push the minutes and push the starts. And yeah, listen, I have only respect for Josie. And, I wish I could have worked with him long term, but yeah.
But it's not easy, especially the competitor like yourself, to only get 10 games and not be able to finish the project. Mentally, how did you deal with that? When you're leaving, going home, seeing the press reports, not being able to go back on the field and coach and do what you love that next Monday. How did you deal with that?
Well, two things, and I have faith. Because of that situation, I got to spend a lot of time with my dad, who had a year left to live, number one. And then I got to work at Manchester United, which was a dream situation. And it's its own story, because it's toxic in some ways. Mm-hmm. But
are we going to get there?
Otherwise, I wouldn't be there, right?
Isn't that crazy?
How do you get in those doors? Which, okay, but I would trade in the time with my dad, I swear to you, because I made the decision to go work for Toronto, and I would trade in the Manchester United time to lead that Toronto team, because I believed in the project and I believed in the people that I was working with, and I saw a a lot of good in the roster. It just needed change. And Bob Bradley would probably say, yeah, this is a major overhaul needed. And they're still at the bottom of the league, guys. Like, and they've gotten rid of a lot of these. You guys probably know that. And Bob's like, whatever. We're bringing in Insigne. We got some guys coming in. Nope, this is a long-term project. Right, but anyhow,
he's given that time, right? He's given that opportunity.
They'll be given the time. Okay. Hopefully, they realize it's not the manager right now. It oftentimes is, guys. It is. Yeah, I haven't played for every manager that has it all put together, but yeah. But oftentimes, it's not the manager. So,
so where the hell were you when you got this phone call that you might have an opportunity to go across the pond? A player who's never played in Europe as a professional player,
yeah,
he has an opportunity to be a part of the biggest club in the world. Chris, where were you? What were you doing when you got that phone call?
Yeah, I was just in New York at home, and Ralph Rangnick sent me a WhatsApp, and he wanted to speak with me. And I have known Ralph, let's say, from 2015 with the Red Bull family. Yes. He's became a global sporting director, overseeing Austria, Bragantino in Brazil, Leipzig, and New York. And he would come watch training here and there once or twice a year. I would go to Germany. We'd go to dinner. It wasn't like this tight working relationship, because anytime I'd go to Germany, those guys are cranking. They're in the middle of their season, Champions League. I'm just hoping to get a few conversations and get to watch training and pick up as much as I can. But anyhow,
Chris, you're being modest. Something must have happened that you earned his respect.
What happens is this: when Ralph Rangnick comes to New York, he's watching, and he's not like in the meal room watching out the window. He's on the pitch right off the side, and he's in the video sessions. He didn't always say, "Hey, Chris, come bring it in. Nice job," but he was watching.
He's watching.
And he said to me, "Chris, I'm going to be in Manchester. I need help. I need support. Someone who knows the philosophy, someone who can run training, someone who can work with me and believes that in this." And I said, "Ralph, you're asking me to join you at when? Let's go."
Started stuttering. What did your son say?
Quick. It happened quick, right? I mean, this was in December, and I was there in December, so it's.
When you told your two boys, listen, I'm packing up. When you told your two boys, I'm packing up because I'm going to take a job at Manchester. What did they say to you?
Yeah, man, they just. At first, I'm like, guys, listen, we had a family meeting here. My guys are 17 years old and 20, and my wife's there, and pretty much, look, I have a chance to go. When I said Manchester United, it was. I'm like,
they believe you?
What do you think?
They believe you?
What do you think?
They thought you were joking. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Cursing, F-bombs. We'll get get no check. Like, guys, I'm not so sure. I don't, what? You're crazy. So it was on the next flight pretty much, you know what I mean? So
crazy.
Yeah, listen, you get a chance to go get in those doors. It's you run through those doors and you give everything every single day. And with all that you have, with trying to have some social sense of, okay, you're a guy here, you're here for 6 months, easy, Chris, don't get. But I connected really well with those guys, I'll tell you.
Beautiful.
I had a good time over there. I pushed as hard as I can. The team it was a difficult time to be there.
What would you say is like right now? Because it's obviously not the Man United that we grew up watching, right? Or the culture, or the results. What do you think is the biggest difference of the hump that they're trying to get over versus like?
Gooch, I think we're seeing it now that Erik ten Hag has come in, and he along with his bosses are going to bring in some talent, but more so hungry, motivated, moldable guys that play and run for the team. That's what the team, in many ways, you can see that it's not about, are you hungry? Are you good? Do you want to win? Can you hit those levels above Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham. We finished in sixth, right? So it wasn't like we're not terrible, but it was a down year, disaster, as some say. But yeah, like those teams are at a different stage right now. You can't even talk. Liverpool, Man City, forget it, right? Chelsea's coming off the Champions League a year ago. So it's challenging levels at this point. It's not about being good. You have to be on it, and with that, to do well in the Premier League, guys, seeing that league up close, the intelligence, the power of players, every team has weapons, every team is well coached, every team has a specific style, and man, 3/4 of that league is hungry as hell. And then the rest are hungry and talented, like really talented. So you got to bring it all the time. That team, every single player and everyone on the inside, the chef, everyone would say, this is not Manchester United standard. It's not. So what do? You try to push and you try to get into that top four, which we were right there with a few games left, and we lose to Arsenal in a tight one. We finished in sixth, but
who'd you lose to?
Arsenal.
Okay. I hear you.
Here we
Yes,
go.
we know.
Here we go.
So
Craig, before you start, so do you think it was, or is it a combination of both, the players and the front office not, having the right mindset of what they're trying to get to, or is it, what do you think was more of the problem? The players off it.
I would say that. Listen, man, I always will come back and look at ourselves, the players, and say, guys, come on. Whether you're getting paid for this or not, or paid a lot or not so much, you owe it to the badge and what the honor that this means to play for the Chicago Fire, the whoever. Manchester United, like, who's to say that badge means more than the next one? But come on, this is Sir Alex. This is, for me, it's the royalty. It's the benchmark. And not just that the team has been successful, it's the way that they've done that. That's a team known. People would stop me on the street. Chris, listen, play the young players. They're hungry. Like they just wanted to see a team. I mean, if you're play for Manchester United and you start passing the ball backwards, they start getting on you. They don't want it. They didn't come there to see it. 75,000 are coming to watch. They want to be on the edge of their seat. So before you put that jersey on, you got to know, man, come on. You got to go for it. Sir Alex, was that just a luck that they would get late goals, stoppage time? He's pushing the ARs over there. A team that never gave in. So how does that happen? Well, when you have Roy Keane and Scholes, and you can go down the list, those guys were not allowing anything to dip, and they're never giving in. And you lose one, they're not losing two. This was a mindset and a culture that somewhere along the line, this I think it slipped. So did it slip all the way? No, but I mean, I think what we're seeing is, sometimes the coaches have to get that out of the players. Oftentimes the players have to come on, demand more of themselves and each other. And I think that, if you're talking about putting together a roster, I think strategically, what does this team need right now? Listen, after 2 years ago, they finished in second place. And they added, a few players, Cristiano, Jadon Sancho, Rafa Varane. And you could say, okay, were these the right signings? And this is always up for debate. A year later, you're in sixth. What happened? Did we get that right? Was the dynamic of the team? And I think
what I can't debate though, Chris, is the talent, right? The Sancho. I mean, everybody on that squad, regardless of the fact of the play, are world-class talent. Do you feel that the coaching staff maybe didn't connect or get a chance because of not who the coaching staff was, but because they knew you were on borrowed time? They know that you were only there for 6 months. Was that an issue?
For sure. It didn't affect, okay, Jadon, here's the exercise. It didn't affect anything you're seeing, but when Eric Ten Hag comes in and has full support, call it, he's going to be here for 3 years.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he's bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4 players. You'll see by the time the season starts, it might be 8 new faces. Who knows? But out with some guys, in with some freshness, hunger, a real specific style of play they can implement. It's night and day what an interim manager, Ralph Rangnick, can do. Ralph came in and had ideas of what he wanted to do, but yeah, they clearly weren't. Were they really going to push for Ralph to hit a home run? I don't know. They didn't add one player, so that's not me talking bad about the club. It's the club didn't add not one single player in the transfer window when we were right in fourth position. Why not? Well, I don't know. That's for that. I didn't have that conversation with them. So imagine it's a blessing and a curse. Like for me, I'm only grateful. They treated me, I promise you all, like tremendously. Upper management, coaching staff, Darren Fletcher, they treated me as I'd been there forever, and they were amazing. The players had a really good rapport, top to bottom, young, older, superstar. But the frustrating thing is you find yourself with this gift, like a pot of gold, whatever you want to call it, and I can't carry it. It's too heavy. Like, how can I?
But you would think, Chris, that at some point one of these players will step up, and you can't always put it on the manager, right? And these leaders on the team, who.
But the thing is, the leaders.
It's not easy.
The issue. I think one of the big things with Manchester United is, if you're talking about like Roy Keane and Paul Scholes, that era, those are people that grew up within Manchester United, so they actually knew the system before they got to the point that they were at the pros. Right now, it's like there's a bunch of talent for sure, but it's talent from everywhere that doesn't really understand the mechanism of the brand.
Everybody's still fighting for their career, right? Fighting for their legacy too. And
it's a different. You don't fight for your legacy. You fight for the team first. Your legacy is a counterpart of that. It's a product of fighting for the team. That's where your legacy becomes. You don't fight for yourself first, and then the team's going to be second. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
No, you're right.
It's true. Like again, I think Gucci. It's perfectly said. So then when you ask, yes. Is there talent? There's talent for sure. Like individually, there's guys that can do a lot. But, one, you have to truly. How do you become a team when you are in many ways divided? Like that doesn't go away right away.
So where was the divide?
Today we're a little bit divided. Tomorrow, yes, we're together. It's not. That's a process and it takes time. Which sometimes it takes a coach to be there for a while and implement, and sometimes it just takes. Honestly, let's be honest. 5 players out, 5 players in. And the 5 players in have to be guys that can, hey, not here. No. And that's what it is. That's not bad. That's what it is. There's no other way. And what Jurgen Klopp, if he doesn't have some success and he doesn't have some power, he can't really get it done. But over time, yes, and then he makes decisions and they keep bolstering the squad. But there's a culture that's strong.
It sounded to me like certain players were undermining the coaching staff.
Listen, here's the thing. No one comes out. It was always sources say training sucks. Sources say, what sources? How come if players are saying, why didn't they ever say it?
Yeah.
So the media was against Manchester United too our time then.
Yeah. I even saw.
You didn't know where it was coming from. Agents, players. It was honestly missiles from everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like as you're trying to build a team, I mean, bam! You start doing this, and boom! Start doing this, bad results. Start doing this, media. Start doing this, the captain sucks. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Who's putting that out there? And that's coming from players' age. I promise you. Like this is, and guys, we all know that. Like the sacredness of a locker room, like what happens in these walls. That's not just BS. Mm-hmm. That starts. We would have meetings and then lineups are getting out. You know what I'm saying? Like, guys, what? That's not Ralph Rangnick's fault. You know
but Chris, do you think that?
I even read something that Fred just said. I think it was a week ago. Is that obviously new team, new coach, and blah blah blah. But he said he hopes this year that the things that stay in the locker room stays in the locker room. Like he came out and said that. So I'm telling you, like it seemed from his words that there's someone in the locker room or somebody going ahead and saying this to the media or saying it to the agent and then putting it out because he made a statement and said, "I hope that things stay in the locker room."
Because Fred means that wholeheartedly. If you have a whole team of Freds, you have a team that's together and they play for each other.
Yes.
If your number's called, you give everything. Your number's not called, I love you. He's a great guy, this one. And not just a good guy. He's a good player. And even him, he would take some heat in the media, but he was reliable and he was a good team guy. So I know that he genuinely means that.
Yeah.
He loves the team. He plays for the team.
Some people say that it was a wrong relationship for Ralph and this team, meaning the core of the team, the type of players they had, could never be successful under Ralph's system.
Well, Ralph Rangnick has never failed. So he's taken a team from like the 7th division and then he's in the Champions League in Germany. If you bring Ralph Rangnick, you got to let him do his job, which is build a team. You can't.
But this
do
wasn't
that.
This was a Band-Aid situation.
Right.
So was it?
Listen, but let's think about it. If you really think about it the way I thought, like, why would they bring Ralph, right?
Yeah.
Or I don't know, no one says it, but like, Ralph is a really credible guy in the football world. You know, there's a lot of noise and unrest, and he's a guy that can maybe stabilize things, and he did in many ways. He stabilized, and things were just coming apart, to be honest with you, for the last month. You can feel it. But he's going to take, it's a 6-month situation. He's going to come in with and not be rattled by big personalities.
Yes.
He'll be able to kind of set a tone. He's going to kind of get them aligned with a style of play that, you know, that can maybe suit the Premier League and some of the guys, Ralph's a guy that can come in and steady the ship. He did that. And I honestly think that if another manager can come in, they could have finished 10th. Easy. The way points go in that league, we went 20 games. I think lost 2 games or 3 games. We had a run of games. We were hard to beat. And it got things, you could feel it getting tougher and tougher as the summer was coming. And things that, again, that I would say are meant for the locker room. Yeah, I'm not going to be on a call and air dirty laundry but yeah, it was just a big challenge. And I don't know a manager at 6 months that can do it. And all along, imagine 3 months in, we know a new manager's coming.
So you agree? It was a stupid situation. Like, if you're going to bring a manager in, at least don't announce it to the world that he's only there for 6 months.
Listen, it's
interesting situation.
I don't think announcing that he's only going to be there for 6 months. I think it was what Chris said. Why do you bring him in then? Because he builds teams. He builds right.
But how can you build a team in 6 months?
But that's not what he was brought in for. It was only 6 months. So why did you bring him in?
Exactly. You should have brought in somebody else.
Maybe somebody else.
Or Michael Carrick was in charge.
Yeah, left him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why would you bring a person like Ralph in?
But listen, I think that it's important for a club like Manchester United to still, Ralph, who knows? What happens if he wins 20 games in a row and they finish in 4th, like a 3rd? You never really know, but they brought in a credible guy in the football world who could manage big personalities. Eddie Cavani,
what was your thought
Ronaldo.
process, Chris?
There's a lot of big personalities.
When he offered you a job, he said, "Listen, Chris, you're coming in for 6 months, and then after that, good luck to you." Or did you think, "Listen, I'm gonna go there, bust my ass, be successful, and then we might take this to another 5 years, or I might be able to stay in Europe as a coach"?
I went there on a 6-month contract. My idea was I'm going for 6 months. But I also know football and the world of football. If you do really well and the team all of a sudden, you could find yourself staying at Manchester United. Yeah. And if Ralph Rangnick leaves, maybe I would stay if they offered. But that didn't happen. I had a chance to join actually Jesse Marsh in Leeds, and I decided to come home.
Wow.
But I made a decision with my family that this was the best thing for us right now. With a lot of that's happened for us, but I could have stayed over there.
So this leads to another question. So now you not as a player, but now as a coach, you got a taste of this European football. You see the difference now versus MLS that you've played in, you've been successful in. With all due respect, it's not to the same level, right? Your next, because you're gonna end up somewhere, right? Your next gig, would you prefer it to be in Europe, or would you prefer to be back?
I would think the next step for me is in MLS to be a head coach again. That's what I think the next step for me is. If the timing was a little better, I could have easily linked on with Jesse because, 1, working with Jesse, 2, having be a first team assistant manager. This was a big thing. And the Premier League for me, this was a treat. This was high level. I think even right now, the standard of that league. I mean, you talk about even the teams that got relegated. Watford's there's just no easy games at all, which I think makes it so impressive for the Man Cities, that Liverpool, that they can just win and win. But this was the league is just so interesting when you match planning. You're thinking of, okay, what is their strength? How do we take it away? Where is the weakness? Where's the space? What do we do? Should we sit back? Do we go? How do we control spaces? You got a certain weapon on that part of the field. This and every team is challenging you this way. And this was for me and my brain and what I got. I love it. I wake up early loving to go solve these world's problems. But I would think if I'm not linking on with, let's say, Jesse or something like this, which I chose not to do that right now, that MLS, if I choose to go that route, that would be a logical move for me to push. I left off, which was really New York. I got to Toronto and my tank was full and I barely got going. So,
hey Chris, when just before we get off the Man United talk, did you receive support from Sir Alex? Was he a guy that was in your corner? Do you guys have conversations? How was your relationship with him?
Yeah, I met him once, and it was my first game there. Young boys. It was the last game at the group stage. Our team was through. I couldn't be down on the bench. I wasn't in the bubble yet. I'm sitting with the assistant or the manager's partner, and Sir Alex had asked to meet her and a few people in the room. They asked me, "Do you want to come meet Sir Alex? Do you want to come meet Sir Alex?" The legendary Sir Alex Ferguson. I've read the books. I've listened to the books online. And I went into his suite. I walked in the room thinking it was going to be Sir Alex, but there was maybe 10 people. So I stood by the door and let her go. I thought to myself, maybe it's not. Maybe I shouldn't be. I didn't want to overstep. But then everyone kind of looks my way, and I go around the room, and I said hello and just introduced myself. Hi, I'm the assistant manager. How are you? I'm here with Ralph. And the last person I spoke to was Sir Alex, and I said, Sir Alex, it's just what an honor to meet you. I promise to give everything to try to honor the work that you've done in the past. And he goes, yeah, it's a lot of work to do, and it's great that you're here. If you need anything, let us know. And I said, yeah, we have someone in common. Actually, Bees, I said, Ron Stern, who's met him in Chicago, and he's showed them around a bunch of times when they're in the summers. And he goes, oh yeah, is the dad, the uncle still alive? I said, yeah, no, he is. And that was it.
Can you guys inform me who Ron Stern is?
Ron Stern was our team administrator at the Chicago Final.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But when Manchester United would come over to Chicago in the States,
he'll take care of
them.
Liaise
and help them find the best bottles of wine and then the restaurants. But anyhow, that was it. And it was a highlight only because, I haven't read that. Of course, you dabble and I read a lot of literature and articles. And let me read this. I've studied Eric Ten Hag. I like the tactics but Sir Alex, I was the culture. Why did it work so well? And this got me going. So to meet him at Old Trafford, again, the kid who came from Long Island over here, nothing this was special. And sadly, at the end of the season, something comes out in the media. The season is over, guys. And something comes out that says, yeah, Sir Alex Ferguson, when he meets Chris Armas, spoke to him the other day and says that, you have to have a better resume, than Chicago Fire in Toronto. You got to do better than that, son. What does that even mean? It's just whoever wrote that should be fired on the spot. That person should be fired on the spot because people listen to that stuff, and it's just an incredible lie.
Well, Chris,
I read that. That's Europe. That's
Europe.
Even these.
Yeah,
the interim assistant manager. The season's done, and it's not even true. What are you saying that for?
Yeah.
How do you? We didn't talk anything.
Nothing about it.
I'm going to name drop. I'm going to tell Sir Alex, hey, Sir Alex, listen, just so you know, I coach in Toronto. Could you imagine, and then you have a choice. When Sky Sports says, Chris, you want to call and talk about your time at Manchester United? Part of me is like, you know what, just go and just vent it out. I'm like, you know what, I'm not doing it. I'm just going to bring more negativity and stuff.
You'll just do it on the crack.
I only worked
Just do
hard.
it on the crack.
I only worked as hard as I could and delivered good work over there. I promise you. And then stuff comes out that's you got Juan Mata and guys saying, "Chris, what a session, love it." Boom, hug. Then players say, training sucks. Like, what are you talking? It's just not true. It's not.
Yeah.
What about the Ted Lasso foolishness? That comment.
Yeah, it's that stuff. So like UB says, it's Europe.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso, right? Because again, think about it. You guys know me fairly well, really well. I'm at a training session for Manchester United. If I'm running that session, I promise you, I put a lot of thought into it.
Yes.
I know how many guys. I know every little detail of the session, and I know guys like Ronaldo. And it has to move. It has to have some energy to it. It's got to have some playing. It can't be too. I got it. So, and I'm not the guy. Rah rah. Yes, guys, bring it in. Come on, like I watched a few episodes of Ted Lasso. I get it. I get the idea, but again, I'm the assistant manager. I'm here. I'm not coming in with this voice. I'm a guy that slowly I'll earn the respect, which I did. Juan Mata is telling the sporting director at Leeds, Chris is an amazing coach and a good person. You should hire him immediately. They're telling me this. So that's the respect that I know you earn, but it wasn't through.
What do
Chris,
no offense to Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
You're gonna be back. You say all this MLS. You're gonna be back in Europe. Don't worry about that. You got bit by the bug. You're gonna be back over there.
I got bit by it. No, I did, man. Listen, we went to Atletico. We're in Champions League, coaching against Simeone, and yeah, man, it was amazing. I mean, you guys have experienced some of that stuff, but it's just got bit by that bug, to be exposed to just a different level when you know it's out there, right? But when you're seeing it twice a week, live, up close, and that's where you want to be.
So Chris, I know you're with family, have too much time, but speak a little bit about what you think you will bring back from, obviously, the Premier League and what you experienced there into your next position in the MLS.
Yeah, look, I think that what I was exposed to there, and much of it was good. Like, it was standards of the way a club is run, like all different aspects of the club and the video department and analytics and set piece coach and the meals, like the meal room and the levels of what I think that I would demand even more to come back and say this has to be. Let's raise the standards.
Beautiful.
But most of all, I think when you go to a club like that, it's you have different. As much as you just stick to who you are, because when you're in it, you got to only rely on who you are and what you know. You can't fool those guys. So when you're having a one-on-one video session with Bruno Fernandes, you got to know how to deliver that. When the manager looks at you and says, "Chris, go ahead," I'm thinking he was going to deliver it, and he's looking at me. Okay, so boom, and I think it's so much about sticking with your guys, how to manage your captain, how to have discussions with guys. Hey, you're not starting today. I mean, that's a star-studded roster. Yeah. A lot of guys not dressing, this is the management part, dealing with Cristiano Ronaldo, having talks with him, and I feel like if I can be in that locker room and have certain discussions and honest discussions with Paul Pogba. That's why he puts his arm around me and goes, "Chris, you got to take my number, but we stay in touch." Like, I reached him because I told him the truth. Paul, you got to, how about just, I know the manager didn't play you, but why not just be the best player in training now every single day? You've won the World Cup. You're an incredible player. Like, just every day, be the example of what it should look like, man. Come on. And boom, I think it resonates with some guys. So for me, that's not something new for me. I've been around players, but those guys was, I think the management part, even for me, was something maybe I'll use the next way. And of course, you grow tactically. You think differently about how, when you're trying to play against a Liverpool or a Man City, and sometimes you think you have no solutions. Like, you're always looking for solutions for your team, with the ball, without the ball, that part of the field, this part of the field. What do you do when you just think they're better and in every single way? And then you start having these discussions. And so whether it's little game planning ideas and how to attack certain things that way, I think I will use them for my next stop.
Beautiful.
Chris, I got to get this because I like to get, sound bites out of guests. So I got a question for you. I don't know if it was before Toronto or after Toronto. There were whispers, and that's because I'm a DC native, that you were about to be the head coach of DC United.
Yeah.
And I saw headlines, it's done, contract signed, it's done, agreed, and then all of a sudden it didn't happen.
It was done. It was, meaning we didn't agree. It was done, meaning I want you, and thank God you want me. I love it. Let's go. We got there, and it fell apart at the very end. The contract talk. It was honestly. Listen, I'm not going to say much more than I was set to go there, and no one makes you sign a contract, and I was going to sign a contract for a few years less money than I was making. Even it doesn't even matter. I wanted to coach that team because I wanted to work with Paul Arriola. I thought some guys in that team were really interesting, and the Donovan Pines, these guys were really interesting to me. The Paredes, some of these young players were interesting to me. And I said, okay, this is something. They need direction, and I think I can help. But it's the first time that I saw negotiation kind of just get taken off the table. And
last minute, literally, just pull the rug out from under you.
It's just people make decisions. Yeah, I'm not part of their discussions, right? Maybe they had a change of heart, but we were right there. And I was, and I knew Toronto wanted to speak, and I said, no, I want to go here. I told my agent that I want to work with this team, and you can make double the money. I want to work with DC United. And I thought they believed in me, which maybe they did, but ironically, they kicked our ass. DC kicked Toronto's ass. That was the last game I coached for. We lost like 7-1. Again, on those days you feel like a terrible coach, but
they just get jobs for Manchester United.
Listen,
that's crazy. That's great stuff.
It's that was true, that the DC thing was real, and listen, it just sometimes the timing, it's just not right, and then again the path went elsewhere, and who knows, my journey's there's a lot left in the story.
Chris,
I think.
I'm gonna have to ask you. These guys hate my Mookie questions. One of my Mookie questions is like for the fans, right? U.S. Soccer has a World Cup coming up. If you were the head coach of U.S. Soccer, give me your starting 11 for U.S. Soccer.
Oh, come on! I'm not doing it.
You have to. You got to. It's just an opinion.
I
want Aaron Long in the center back.
Yes.
Red Bull.
You birthed him. Who else? Who's your left back?
Tyler. I think we're going to play with 2 6s just to lock it down.
Okay.
I know that maybe it can look like a 4-3-3 at times, but one of them can rotate higher. But maybe McKenzie. Let's see, McKenny. What's the new guy's name that's been playing next to Bees?
Who?
Nick?
Central midfielder is playing next to Tyler, rather.
Oh, Musa.
Musa. McKenny, Musa, and
so your 2 6s would be McKenny and Tyler?
No, Musa.
Okay. And where are you paying McKenny? The attacking?
Higher. Obviously, Pulisic. It gets tricky now because I like a lot of these guys up there. I'd have to think about the striker, but probably going to get Brendan Aronson on.
I love him.
Listen, for me, I'm going to go to that World Cup and surprise people. We are going to go there, and I think we're going to give them a lot of trouble because what my lineup that I'm saying is not going to be far from what they've been doing and what they will do, because it's going to be energetic, guys that can make plays in the final third, guys that can press. We're showing it, but
you starting Timothy Weah over Gio Reyna?
Look, right now it's tricky for Gio. I love the way he plays. Right, he brings something different and intelligence. If Gio's healthy, it'd be hard to leave him off. But then who's playing striker, false nine? Like this is
it's tough.
Listen, if I'm the coach of the national, I got to put more thought into it. And we have good fullbacks. We have speedy fullbacks that can get forward. I don't know. I think
Sergio Dest
is
he's
strong,
not your style of
obviously.
player though, right? He might not be.
Robinson and we have
Sergio. Who is Sergio?
What about goalkeeper? Who are you starting? Zach or Turner?
If I had to answer it, I'm saying Turner right now. Turner. I know we've talked about guys got to be playing, who's in form, but I don't know. I think that
would be mine. That's what I said. I said Turner as well. Yeah. I agree.
Last question. Leeds United. They brought on two American players. Can Tyler Adams? I know it's your boy. Could he play on that Manchester United team?
I think so. Yes. I think the thing that the fans would love about him, of course, he can cover ground. That's great, but he plays on the edge, man. He goes for it. He's not scared. And some would say and have said that for Manchester United, you have to be more technical and handle the ball differently. And Tyler still will get better in that area. But I think for what that team needs right now and the energy he would bring, the kind of like what Bees would inject into a team, I do think that he would be a good Manchester United player.
You heard it first. Mr. Chris Armas, thank you so much for taking time.
All right, fellas.
Big shouts to the family.
Chris, man.
Good luck to your boys.
All right, guys.
And enjoy your summer. And when you do get your next job, you have to come back on. Fair?
I'm around, fellas. You know that.
Appreciate it, Chris.
Nice seeing you guys.
All
right.
You
Say
too,
hi to your
brother.
family.
Peace.
All right, boys. See you, man.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Mr. Chris Armas, baby.
All right. Well, Moot, Gooch, take us out.
Oh shit!
Bees, you take us out this time, Bees. You ain't never take us out.
Hey, all I'm saying, what a great guest. I'm lucky to call him a friend. I've known this man since I was 17 years old. So to be able to see his whole career from playing now and coaching and going to Man U and him being so candid about his experiences, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed listening to him speak. So I hope you guys, I'm sure you guys did as well. But yeah, another episode of The Crack. Like, subscribe, push.
Follow,
what's the button?
share.
Yeah, follow. That's it. I always forget to follow.
He said push.
Push.
So yeah.
All right,
That's
fellas,
it. That's all
man.
I got.
Until next time, big shouts to everybody and much love to the Crack crew. Peace.
Peace.